Combrio Coaching. And before I start today's live, I want to give a trigger warning. I want to talk about abusive and dangerous relationships and about why people don't leave them. If this is a trigger for you, please just turn this off now. I don't want you listening to it. Second of all, I'm not a counselor or a doctor. I am an attorney, but this way in no fashion is legal advice. But I think this is an important topic and I need to talk about it with you. And mainly I've had people asking me, and the question that they ask is, if a person's in a dangerous or an abusive relationship, why don't they leave? And I think every one of us knows a person who, or a friend who's either married or dating to that person who you can tell flat out is horrible for your friend. You know it's dangerous and unhealthy. And that's what we're going to talk about. And I am using a woman in this example, and it's just because I'm a woman, it's easier for me to say she. But understand this. 1 in 4 women are in abusive relationships or have been in abusive relationships. 1 in 9 men have experienced abusive relationships. So this is something that both men and women face, and it's an important topic. So let's start off from the top. What is an abusive relationship? Excuse me. It's a term that describes any relationship where one has power and exerts their power and control over their partner, their spouse, in a negative way. And there's a bunch of types of abuse. I mean, everybody knows of the physical abuse where somebody comes in with a black eye or they're using covering up bruises. That's a very real and noticeable type of abuse. It can be anything from hitting, slapping, punching, but sorry, this is BB. Anything to physically harm another person. The second type is emotional or psychological abuse, and that's the type that's the hardest to see, both from the point of the person who's being abused and from their friends, because you don't know what's being said behind closed doors. And emotional abuse is characterized by behaviors that really it undermines that person's self-esteem. They make them feel like they have no self-worth, and that their emotional well-being is gone. And it can involve constant criticism, humiliation, intimidation, and manipulation, and gaslighting. Gaslighting is the big word of the day, but that all goes into emotional and psychological abuse. And where you see that type of abuse is often when you're dealing with a narcissistic person on the other side, on the abuser side, and that person is an expert at reframing situations to make it look like the woman was in the wrong, or that she didn't try hard enough, that kind of thing. Under emotional abuse, I would also put verbal abuse. That's where the abuser's words are the ones that cause the abuse. There's also sexual abuse. Should be obvious. You can, if you are married or in a long-term relationship, a woman can still say no. That's often an abuser is saying, nope, that's not the case. I can have sex whenever I want. And you get into rape situations. And even when I was at the Broward County State Attorney's Office, we did try cases which were marital rape cases. So it can happen, and it's not your fault. The next one would be financial abuse. And financial abuse is where there used to be years ago the deal where the husband would work all week, bring his paycheck home, and give it to the wife, and the wife would pay the bills. We don't have that nowadays, or at least I don't know anybody who does that. But financial abuse is where the abuser only gives the spouse enough money to buy a minimal amount of food, or buy not have enough money to buy clothes, and it really puts them so that the abused person is entirely dependent on the abuser to get money just to survive. I've seen this a lot in divorce situations where they get divorced and the ex-spouse won't pay child support, or just gives such a few dollars that the kids are always hungry, that the mom is doing everything she can to get another job and help pay for things. It's very common. And the last type of abuse I want to talk about is spiritual or religious abuse. And I'm not talking about how some of the big denominations have had cases where, we'll say that there was abusers going after young children. That is definitely abuse. But in this case, it might be a spouse who hangs religion over a woman's head, that using the Bible and twisting the words and saying that he's the head of the household, she has to do whatever she wants. And getting into a church where they say the same thing. Getting into a person saying that you can't divorce me because God hates divorce. All of these things to make the person feel, the abused person feel like they're doing wrong in God's eyes. And that's a really hard type of abuse to fight against, because you can find any religion, a church in any religion that's going to enforce those views, and abusers tend to do that. So with an abusive situation, why would a woman or an abused person want to stay in that situation? One is just the emotional attachment. They've been together for long enough that they feel that they love this person, they want to do right by this person, so they just think that they're going to stay there. Two is low self-esteem. That's where we've had the emotional abuse, and the person doesn't feel like they're worthwhile, and they feel like they deserve what's going on. This comes into play when they get yelled at for maybe having a dish out of place, or the house isn't clean enough, or something like that, and they feel like they deserve to be punished. They deserve to that they're not good enough to be with anybody else. And that's a really tricky one to deal with, because it's really insidious, and when you meet people, start listening to how they talk. And if their self-talk includes, oh, I'm just not smart enough, oh, I can't do this, oh, I can't, or I would, but, then you're starting then to start looking at their self-esteem. Does it seem like they just don't believe in themselves? Because that's what an emotional abuser does, is he takes away a person's self-esteem. We also have religious reasons why why a woman wouldn't leave. And that gets back to the religious abuse, is people can twist words. And, I was an attorney. I can twist words with the best of them. And I can change things to look like an abused person is in the wrong if they want to leave. There's lots of scripture in the Bible that says God hates divorce, and that no man shall pull apart a man and a woman who are man and wife. All of that can be twisted to make it seem like you must stay in a relationship. That's absolutely not true. God is a God of love. He doesn't want to see you being abused. But you're not going to hear that from a lot of the churches. They want to, um, they have used scriptures in a way that hurts the abused person. And if you're in one of those situations, I'm very sorry. Um, it's hard, and message me and we'll talk and go over how things have been twisted and you didn't even know it, because you can read it right there in the Bible. The last one is financial dependence, because the abuser, if it's the man generally makes more money, and he can control whether or not she has enough money to leave. And it's in his best interest to not allow her to leave, so he can exert more and more financial pressure in terms of not giving a person money so she doesn't leave. I will also add in there's also a shame or a guilt in leaving that a lot of people feel. And I don't know if it's survivor's guilt or just all of this added up together, but they feel that leaving is wrong. And if you are in an abusive situation, done correctly, leaving is never wrong. But how do you do it correctly? First of all, you're going to have to plan. And I hate to say, I'm not a big advocate for just walking out the door. You can do it, but it's easiest or easier if you actually plan ahead of time what you're going to do. First, worry about your safety. If this is someone who has been physically abusive, then when you leave when they're not there. Make sure that you don't confront the person, because that's the most dangerous time in the relationship, is when you're trying to leave. Reach out to your friends. Nobody wants to see you going through abuse. Your friends are there for you and love you. You might have family support. You might not also. So just look for the people who support you and that you trust, because you're going to need them. And they're going to be there for you, and they're going to tell you you are worthwhile. You are an awesome person, and you don't need to be in that situation anymore. When you're thinking about leaving, make sure you figure out which papers are you going to need. You're going to need your driver's license, a birth certificate, kids' birth certificates, anything that is important to you, credit cards, bank statements, all of these things, health insurance cards, all of these things are important so that you have essentially proof of who you are, because your next step is going someplace. Where are you going to go? Are you going to go to an abuse shelter or a domestic violence shelter? You're going to go to a friend's house? You're going to stay in a hotel? Are you going to move into a new apartment? All of these places to go are going to require information about you. So make sure you grab everything. And then when you're grabbing things, figure out how you're going to pay for it. And you might not know. And finances are extremely important. I'm not going to deny that. But don't let finances be the only reason why you don't leave. You will make it. You will find a way to eat. If it's possible, open up a bank account in your own name, only in your name, and start setting aside money for immediate needs. Otherwise, if you have some cash, start handing it to a friend. Say, please hold this for me till the right time. Do whatever you can to ensure that you have a few dollars saved up. But again, don't let that stop you. As an attorney, I'm going to say make sure you protect yourself legally. It might mean getting a divorce or filing for a divorce. It might mean filing for a restraining order. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do. Might mean not signing a mortgage, not signing as a co-borrower on a car. All of those things, kind of get them ready. And most attorneys I know will give you a free 15-minute, 30-minute consultation. Talk to somebody and make sure you got all your ducks in a row. If you can, and this is under the legal part, if there's evidence of abuse, document it. So if you've been physically abused, take pictures of the bruises. And I know that's kind of an attorney thing to say, but when you go to get an injunctive relief or get a divorce, being able to prove that this abuse really existed is it helps so much. So anything that you can document, if you can document that he drained a bank account, document it. Whatever it is, make sure you keep track of it. So it all gets down to, why don't you leave? If you have to take all these steps to leave, why wouldn't you? One, and this is just wrapping everything up, it's easy to get brainwashed as a victim, as an abused person. You're made to think it's all your fault, that you're no good, and that nobody loves you other than your abuser, and that there's no way you can make it on your own. You might feel as an abuser that if you try harder, that things will get better, that you obviously have made mistakes and you're not perfect, and it makes sense why this person is abusing you mentally or physically. Maybe you could be a better mom. Maybe you could keep the house cleaner. Maybe you could have sex more often. Maybe if you do all these things, he'll turn back to the sweet man that you married. There's so many reasons why the emotional abuse is the hardest, is because it twists your very soul. You forget how good of a person you actually are. And when an abused person is hit or threatened with violence, then the abuser can frequently threaten violence with more violence. If you say that you're going to ask for a divorce, he might threaten to kill you. He might threaten to go after the kids, and that's a big one. Is, oh, I'm going to take the kids from you, and I'm going to leave you with no money, and all the things that guys say when you bring up divorce. And as an abused person who's feeling fragile, it's easy to believe that. It's not true. Very rarely does the man or abuser get the kids, but that's the threat they always throw out there. So why does a woman stay? There's a whole bunch of reasons. And I think that's when an abused person most has to reach out to their friends. If you are not sure what to do, drop me a message, email me at lynn@leofarmsinc.com. Most importantly, I want to give you this number. It's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It's 800-799-7233. Again, 800-799-7233. Because the most important thing about being an abused person is that you deserve better. You can control your life, and you can take the first step. And that's all you need to do, is take one step. Talk to me as a coach. I will help you through this. Talk to your friends. Talk to a pastor. Talk to somebody that's going to support you. If you get the feeling that they're blowing you off, don't talk to them anymore. That's also a sign that you need to find someone new to talk to. And above all, I know a lot of people who've been abused, and I've been at work situations where a woman has come in trying to hide black eyes. It's not worth it. He's not going to change. You need to get out of there. Get out of the situation and protect yourself. If you have children, protect the children and yourself. It's all going to be okay as long as you take those steps to get out. So I'm sorry if this was a bit of a downer for a live. It's an important one though, and I just want you to know that there are people who care about you and that we want the best for you. So I hope that this helped. If you have any questions, like I said, please talk with me and I will help point you in the right direction if it's for services. And have a great day. Thanks. Bye.